cannot overcome. They don't realize. They don't realize. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. 'Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. 'Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. They're not gonna take us alive. They must not know how we do. They sure don't know how we do. 'Cause we're gonna fight to survive. They will not knock us off our groove. They will not knock us off our groove. They don't realize. They don't realize. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. 'Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. 'Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. They'll see with their own eyes. It will come as no surprise. We'll climb the rock most high. It's time for new chapters to fill the pages of love, life, and laughter. I pack my bag, look ahead into the light, and I'm ready to claim my dreams, and I'm ready to take the flight. And I admit it in my heart, I feel a little fear. I'm racing towards my destiny. I gotta keep my conscience clear. The blue sky's got a star I should be standing on. It's my turn, and I'm ready to take the world on. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. Rule the world. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. It's our time. Our time to fly. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. 'Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. It's our time to fly. It's our time to change. We don't need a reason why. Let's make a change. Make it process through. Now we're on the road. Nothing we know to we're off to rule the world. We're off to.
We're gonna rule the world. Yeah. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the AniYa Show. And tonight, we have had so many great things going on in our community. At this time, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome to all of our viewers and all of those that continue to support the AniYa Show. But most importantly, I would love for you all to stop what you're doing and share this message with a friend, with a loved one, because tonight we have a very special guest on. And before I tell you more about this special guest, I want to say that we as a community must support each other. As you know, I support all of you great people out there, and it's no different in with me and how I want you to support me too, right? And I'm not afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to ask for support and love because honestly, I give you great content and I would love for the people, especially the young people, to hear some of the stuff that we discuss here on the AniYa Show because as many of you know, we do things differently here and we provide positive entertainment and we also provide love. We provide harmony, we provide entrepreneurship advice, we provide empowerment advice, we provide things that a lot of different groups are not providing. And tonight, with that being said, I want to say welcome to every one of you who are joining us right now. Listen, as I share the message with you, I want to say that our special guest will be on with us in approximately 5 minutes. And we are excited because I've known this person for a number of years. So if you're watching on Instagram, share this platform on Instagram. If you're watching on Facebook, definitely share this on Facebook as well, because it's going down tonight. And I tell you no lie, I've known this beautiful human being for, again, 5 years or so, and never really knew his story. So you may have seen the flyers. You may have seen some information circulating about the person, the guest that we have on this evening. And now it's time to let you know a whole lot more. So welcome Mama Brenda Doc, who's watching. Welcome Mr. Gregory Roberts, who's watching. All of my National Action Network people who continue to support. Our special guest is coming on in just a few moments. If you all hear any ruckus in the background, you know we live in New York City. You know that we have a furry human on the premises. So trust and believe, if he gets out of character, we will hide him in one of these rooms, okay? So who are we talking about this evening? We're talking about the one and only Mr. FATIYN, brother FATIYN Muhammad. A lot of you know him as brother FATIYN, and he is, ready for this, the host and executive producer of the OPENLINE and OPENLINE online shows on New York radio station 107.5 WBLS FM. FATIYN has been associated with the OPENLINE show on air radio show for over 30 years. First starting as, ready for this, the producer of the broadcast under Bob Slade. Many of you know who Bob Slade is, so don't act like you don't. That brother has been kicking it for so long. FATIYN is also the executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio shows Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton and Sunday Morning with Rev Al Sharpton. For 15 and 13 years, respectfully. FATIYN Muhammad, aka Brother FATIYN, which you guys know, is a native New Yorker, born in Brooklyn in the house. He graduated from George Westinghouse Vocational and Technical High School, located in downtown Brooklyn, New York. Ready for this? Brooklyn, New York. Brother FATIYN furthered his education in the field of electrical engineering technology at SUNY Farmingdale Agricultural and Technical University in Long Island. He graduated with an AAS degree in the field of electrical engineering technology from, oh, I just said that, Farmingdale, SUNY Farmingdale. He was named outstanding minority student and was on the dean's list with a GPA of 3.79 in the late 80s. It also says Brother FATIYN became a member of the UAM, United African Movement, under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton and attorneys Alton Maddox and Vernon Mason. It also says the same year, Brother FATIYN became a member of 98.7 KISS FM softball team, not knowing that these two paths would cross and create a new career path for him. The new career path that was created while working at a bank in the New York tri-state area was the producer position of the one and only OPENLINE show, heard on 98.7 KISS FM under the direction of radio station's news director Bob Slade. 98.7 KISS FM merged with WBLS FM, where OPENLINE, ready for this, was one of the programs that got picked up by WBLS FM. FATIYN remained producer of the OPENLINE show until the passing of the beloved Bob Slade and the retirement of the third answer, James oh my God, I can't pronounce it correctly, Matum, and the judge attorney Bob Pickett. And I am so excited for this moment, as we have been communicating about this for quite a few days here, but it's finally coming together. And I'm so excited because Brother FATIYN is somebody I highly regard and respect. And I'll never forget the first time I met Brother FATIYN. And it was actually when I worked for Shayla Scott at WBLS. And I was literally doing events and helping Shayla Scott out. And I met Brother FATIYN in passing, and we just continue to stay in contact and stay in touch. And this brother is somebody, again, that I highly respect. But not only do I respect him, I desire for you all to hear his story. And that's why tonight is so special that we have Brother FATIYN here with us on the AniYa Show. and he should be coming on momentarily. In the interim, I want to know how you all are feeling wherever you are this evening. Let your girl AniYa know where you are. How is the weather? Because obviously it feels like it's drizzling out here. So as we wait for the brother, we want to thank God for another beautiful day. And even though it seems to be drizzling outside, we are safe and dry, which is such a blessing on our parts because you know me, I'm always, excuse me, in the street somewhere doing something. And I was out today taking care of some business, running around, got a super big blessing for an up and coming major day, which I'll talk about more later. But in the interim, I just want to say thank God for the rain that did not catch me this evening as I was running around, because Lord knows I would not have been prepared for this evening. Oh, Gregory Roberts says hi, and he knows Brother FATIYN from back in the days of the UAM. And that's a perfect segue as Brother FATIYN joins us live on the AniYa Show. Please, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, help me welcome the one and only Brother FATIYN Muhammad from WBLS, Kiss FM, UAM. And I mean, the accolades continue. Welcome, sir.
Sister Anaya A, how are you? Thank you for those kind words. I was watching the introduction. I was like, boy, who's this person you talking about? How did you mess up Mtume's name? He's gonna get you.
Don't tell him, listen, I said, whoa, brother. You hear the person's name sometimes and you're like, oh, Otume, yeah, I get it. And then you gotta read it and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, that happens. You know what? It happens. And when you're a journalist, and I just want to first of all thank you for inviting me on the program this evening. Number one. Number two, I commend you on the great work that you do.
Thank you.
You've been doing, as you just mentioned, and how we met, in the studios there with Sister Shayla.
Yes.
Shayla Scott, and the work you just continue to do out there. So I am pleased with that.
Thank you so much. And you know what? I'm going to have to lock away the fur baby because I think he's already starting to get jealous of you. Can you believe that? You heard that, right? He's
baby.
like,
you look like, I said, that ain't my fur baby.
You hear him because he hears your voice. Please, brother, tell us, to open it up, tell us a little bit more about you. People are watching, they're commenting now. Welcome, Robin. Welcome, Mama Brenda. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to run and hide the fur baby. They know how I do. If he behaves, he sticks around. But when he hears a male's voice, he's like, who is that man talking to my mama? You already know. So let us know a little bit about you as the producer, you as a career specialist in this entertainment industry, and I'll be right back, sir.
Got it. Not a problem. Not a problem. Since I guess I'll pick up the show for everybody. And again, welcome everybody that is joining the broadcast this evening. And I think Sister Anaya kind of ran it down to the folks. Oh, that you're back real quick.
Yes.
I said I thought I had to do this for about 2 or 3 minutes, but I was just getting ready to say, you pretty much ran it down. One of the things how I got active,
yes.
You don't realize how you're going to become active in your life.
Yes.
I wasn't raised by a family who was into civil rights. I was raised by a family who migrated from the South.
Wow.
And basically, just was trying to get by and have a better life.
Yes.
But as I was growing up, I started realizing that I would have certain challenges in high school and college, in life. And those challenges dealt around race. And I didn't know, I just took a stand. And I just remember one night watching the Martin Luther King story. And I asked myself a question. I said, if you was in Dr. Martin Luther King era, what would you do? Then I asked myself, what if you was in the era of Jesus?
Ooh.
What would you do?
Here we go. It's getting
and then I
started.
said I would be somewhere being active. So then the bigger question came, what are you doing now?
That's right.
And that right there, I didn't jump right up, but right there, I said to myself, well, I believe I could do more. But I didn't know what more was.
Correct.
Not till I was up in Boston visiting a friend, and the Tawana Brawley story came on, and they said that Tawana Brawley was going to be at the Slave Theater at the United African Movement at that particular time with Reverend Al Sharpton and attorney C. Vernon Mason and attorney Alton Maddox. So I said, when I get back to Brooklyn, you know, as you mentioned, born and raised in BK, you know, and I went down, and that night, one of the guys that was head of security, we call him Big Paul James. He's passed on, God bless his soul.
Right.
But he took me under his wing, and he was one of the top security people. And Reverend Sharpton delegated certain protocol and responsibility to him, and he took me under his wing, and that's how I got in. Being one of the security personnel for United African Movement at that particular time, one of them being for Tawana Brawley. And of course, you know, different stories. And one of the things that me and you got a chance to talk about the other day when I was talking with some folks at the National Action Network convention, of course, Reverend Sharpton moved on from the UAM and created the National Action Network. I was there. That's, you know, and right before he moved on and created the National Action Network, some folks do know, but I was there. Not only there, I was standing honestly behind him when Reverend Sharpton took a knife in the chest in the schoolyard in Bensonhurst as we was getting ready to lead one of the Saturday protest march. You get ready to pause me.
I am, because I want you to take your time with this. You know why, sir? Because I want you to help us to, first of all, tell us how you felt as a Black man on security teams doing this work, being that you weren't even from this type of background and feeling like you have to take a stance. Now you're in a whole new gamut. And now you're there while Reverend Al Sharpton gets stabbed in the chest. Tell me what runs in your mind, because this is history,
all right,
sir.
So let's back this up a little bit. So
yes, sir.
being like I said, being brought on as the security, as you mentioned, I still was working full time in the banking world. In data center, I was a computer or a data center manager.
Okay.
So I was blessed to be on a 3-day, 12-hour shift.
Okay.
So that freed up a lot of, you know, I would have 4 days off. So that gave me a lot of time to volunteer. So like I said, when I went down to the slave theater and was taken under the wings of the security team, I was able to give back. That's the moment. That was that moment that I realized that the answer to my question, what would I do? Well, that was it. That was that moment. That was the moment that I was standing up, not knowing where that was going to lead me at that particular time. So, of course, there's numerous cases that had happened in New York City, and one situation happened is the story of Yusuf Hawkins.
Correct.
When Yusuf Hawkins and his friends went out to Bensonhurst to purchase a car.
Correct.
And it from what it was said that the residents out there, which it was a white community,
racist
were hearing, well, we get to that part, saying that there was some Black folks that was coming to a party, and Yusuf Hawkins and them, when they had nothing to do with that, you know, at all at the end of the day. And yes, Yusuf Hawkins, when him and his friends got off the train and was walking in the direction to go see about the car, they ran into some folks that, yes, were racist, were Black, were against Blacks, and wanted them to get out the neighborhood. Yusuf and the friends didn't know what was going on, but as they were trying to back away, one pulled out a gun and shot him in the chest, and Yusuf Hawkins died. Of course, the family reached out for Reverend Al Sharpton, and Reverend Sharpton went to the family, and then he called security. And then, of course, we became involved with that case. What Reverend Sharpton and Attorney Maddox and Attorney Mason job is to keep this story in the media, because the media, you know, will turn situations. You got to realize we're coming off a charged situation of Howard Beach before Tawana Brawley, and you have the Tawana Brawley situation there. And Howard Beach, there was a special prosecutor Charles Hines that was appointed in that case, and we got a conviction in that one. In the Tawana Brawley matter, we wanted a special prosecutor appointed in that case, but the person that they appointed was not somebody that the family felt would be a good person to prosecute this case. And you have to realize, folks that don't know, that when you go into a grand jury, you go in there as a witness by yourself.
That's
so
right.
Tawana Brawley's attorneys could not go in, so they decided not to cooperate. And it came out, since she decided not to cooperate, the special prosecutor, I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Abrams, want to label Tawana as lying. And it's amazing that we watch folks today and say that they have been allegedly raped. They all believe, but what they took this Black woman through. Look what happened to the Central Park fellows, which we were involved in.
You were involved in as well.
I was involved in that case, and we knew that these boys were getting railroaded. We knew that they were coerced. We knew that there was no DNA. This is what, by being in the movement, but also working with Bob Slade and the 98.7 KISS FM news team at that particular time, continue to drill home that something stunk with that case. Something stunk with that case. But to go back to the Bensonhurst case, Reverend Sharpton, Attorney Maddox, and Attorney C. Vernon Mason wanted to keep the story out in front. We did not want the media to turn this story into something that it wasn't. That there was some Black boys showing up about a party. No, these boys were innocent, went out there to buy a car, and because of the color of their skin, one was shot and killed. So every Saturday, Reverend Sharpton and the UAM led marches out there. And those marches were really rough. The first march we went out there, Reverend Sharpton turned to me because there was not enough police out there. And you should have seen the people that came out in the street, even people from a wedding, stop their wedding to come out to curse and say negative things.
Not a wedding, Jesus.
Yes, somebody threw a watermelon. Yes. And I never forgot when Reverend Sharpton turned towards me. This is the first march, and he said, "FATIYN, I wonder if we're going to get out of here alive."
Wow.
And that's, and this is real. This is nothing to play with. Our job is to protect Reverend Sharpton, protect the family.
Right.
This is not something that you just take up a hobby and say, "Oh, I'm just going to volunteer." This is real.
Real life.
Dr. King, Malcolm X, and so many others have lost their lives to standing up against racism. Just look at what we're doing today. But to fast forward, I think it was January 91, and we was getting ready to lead another march. And Reverend Sharpton had security get the line together, because we had to line up. We would park in the schoolyard.
Yep.
Police would surround us. And Reverend Sharpton wasn't comfortable where the line was, so he directed us in security to get the line together. So when he's getting out the car, security is doing the line. The BBC was also filming that day, and one of our head security was over there dealing with him. Matter of fact, it was Paul. And the person that stabbed Reverend Sharpton was dressed like an undercover police. A lot of the undercover police were in jeans, maybe a baseball jacket. So this gentleman just walked up, and the next thing you know, Reverend Sharpton felt something like somebody punched him in the chest.
Right.
So as I did that, I'm standing behind Reverend Sharpton with my back towards his back. So when next thing I hear the commotion, and when I turn around, Reverend Sharpton is on one knee.
Wow.
And when he hit one knee, and he reaches in and he throws this, he comes out with a motion, and when he does this, I see the knife hits the ground. I can hear it. Every time I describe this, I hear the knife hitting the ground. Reverend Sharpton, then his hand was shaking like this. He reaches back in, and he comes back out, and he has blood on his hand.
My God.
So I'm right over his shoulder. So I was like, yo, I need help. I need assistance here now. As I turned to my left, we had a doctor that was there, Dr. Jessie Fields. She was with the National Alliance Group and with Dr. Fulani at that particular time. And I called Dr. Jessie Fields. So she comes over, she applies pressure, and we get Reverend Sharpton in the car. As a matter of fact, it's in one of his first book, Go Tell Pharaoh. And you will see me helping him in the car. And the BBC, as I said, was filming. And I think I was in the second car. You could hear us as we leaving the schoolyard. I'm out the window, get out the way, as we rush Reverend Sharpton to Coney Island Hospital, where, similar to Dr. King, a few more inches to the, to one of the sides, Reverend Sharpton would have been someone talked about. Not where we'll be able to talk with.
I just have to say, and I just have to let people understand how deep this is for me. You know somebody sometimes and you talk to them all the time and you're like, oh, you're such a great producer. And I'm speaking about you at this moment, right? I'm like, you're such a great producer, such a great guy, FATIYN. And isn't it beautiful and also very poignant that I wasn't even supposed to be where I saw you just the other day, sir.
Right.
And I have to let people know I am a very spiritual person and I believe in energies. And I also believe our ancestors are always moving with us. Correct. And I hadn't seen you since the pandemic, but we've spoken on the phone a couple of times and things like that. And when I got there, I don't know what prompted the conversation, honestly. And it went from, hey, how's everything? The bank thing with Patrice Perry. What's up, Patrice?
Yes.
And then you and the whole movement. And I honestly cannot remember how we got to it. I'm like, wait a minute. You just haven't been doing radio. You have been doing this for life. Right. Because 1988, to some people may be like a couple of years ago, but this is a long time. And for you to have been there when Rev got stabbed. And the reason I want to take this time, because people are watching, they're leaving comments. Thank you so much. Robin Clanton says history. Gregory Roberts says, I got my start from UAM. Myself was marching in all those cases. Praise God for those that were marching with you. And the reason I wanted to stop and interject this part was because, when I first met you, and as we know, in the studios and everything, your personality and your vivaciousness would have never led us to this moment in my mind, because again, being in radio and television, sometimes you think people are just creative, but there's no real history there. And then I remember hearing Dominique Sharpton talk about this during one of the NAN conventions a couple of years ago, and how literally that was one of the moments of her life that changed her life, Brother FATIYN, because she was not allowed to look at the news. And I'll never forget when she stood on that stage and shared, that was the first time she had a panic attack when she saw her own father in the newspaper having been stabbed. And when you said the correlations between Dr. King and Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton, it just brings so many emotions, because sometimes, and I'm speaking to the community and I'm motivating the community right now, sometimes you see us on the front line, because I myself put myself in danger every day. Brother FATIYN puts himself in danger every day, covering these stories, etc. You see us in the front lines, but you don't realize how our lives are in danger for all of you. And that's why tonight was so imperative. I was like, please, can you come on? Because I wanted it to drive home, and I knew you would be able to do it. Right there, you made that correlation between Dr. King, who was also stabbed in the chest, and Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton, who keeps fighting for us. And sometimes our people are just so unbelievably, inconsistently, just unaware. And I don't know if it's because of the school books, or is it because we're just not talking enough? But I want you to tell why you keep fighting as well, because you could have given up a long time ago, sir. That for me, seeing Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton with a whole knife in his chest and hearing it, I probably would like, all right, deuces, this is a little heavy for me. I'll see y'all later, because this man just got stabbed in front of me. But you're still here, King.
Well, I appreciate that. And one of the things is, as you mentioned the other day, us being together, is that I saw the creation of National Action Network. I remember when Reverend Sharpton left the UAM that night and he said he would call us. I know who was there. I know who was there, who wasn't there. I know when Reverend Sharpton create NAN and had it up at the school where we was up in Harlem. I was there for that. So to see National Action Network, to see what Reverend Sharpton and so many others that built, but let's be real, Reverend Sharpton grabbed this by the horns and led the way with this. I know you call him Dr. Al Sharpton, and that with the respect, I will continue to do what you do, Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton.
You know him, man.
He is a doctor. He is a doctor. I call him as Rev, you know.
But you call him Rev, right?
Yeah, I call him Rev, you know. And it's amazing because even on MSNBC, they call him Rev.
Yes.
So that's another thing, you know, they call him Rev. So that is something that has become his title, and he can feel a way about it, but I don't think he does because he knows that people are calling him Rev out of respect of who he is and what he's done and still doing out here to today. But there's so many people that walk around that's in National Action Network that don't know my role, don't know the history.
Absolutely.
I'm not always around the National Action Network family on a daily basis. When they hear these stories and they find out who I am, then they be like, oh, you know, Rev. A lot of one guy stopped me the other day. You know, he was doing security. He was like, wait, brother, you know. And then I didn't say anything. I just let it come. Rev comes out, hey, FATIYN, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Looks at me like, oh, yeah. So, you know, I just let it go because we can play into our ego.
Yes, sir.
We all have a job to do, and sometimes it's not out front, and sometimes it's back this way. You made a mention about once Reverend Sharpton got stabbed, you might have thrown up the deuces and might have left, just as an example.
Yes, sir.
Well, things did change. One night after a Wednesday night rally at the United African Movement, we went out to Williamsburg to the Jewish community to protest something. And I had my lady with me at that time. And when we got out there, my job is to secure Reverend Sharpton, Attorney Maddox. I don't know if Attorney Mason was there. The Jews surrounded us, caught us off guard, because they have their own security and this, that, and other. So we went out there to protest. They surrounded us.
The Jews?
The Jews, they surrounded us.
Like the ones with the little black things and the kufkas?
This is in Williamsburg. So in Williamsburg, they're not the ones the same as on Eastern Parkway, but they do dress in black, but some are in civilian clothes, things like that. Okay. So yeah, they surrounded us that night. Nothing came out of it. They surrounded us because they didn't know why we were there at the end of the day. So, but my mind went, who do I secure? I got my missus here, Reverend Sharpton here. So I remember telling her, you can't come out to these rallies no more because it's gonna cause me to hesitate. In this job that I volunteered for, you understand? I volunteered. I had a job. So that was my way of giving back. There was other people that, you know, got something, you know, a little bit from doing what they did. I didn't want to take away from that, but I couldn't hesitate. What made me decide is when we had our first daughter in 92. And when my first daughter was born, that's when I realized, wait a minute, I have more of a responsibility at home. And I can't think and hesitate. You can't think about that little baby in the crib if somebody is going to pull out a weapon and try to attack Reverend Sharpton. And I'm not going to sit here and say what our protocol was, but we had a protocol to do what we had to do as security.
Right.
So for me, the good thing is I won money. I won money from 98.7 KISS FM in a contest. Wow. And when I went to collect the money, I had inquired about the softball team because I had seen some of I saw some folks, not my friends at the time, but some folks where I played softball with KISS FM jackets. So I asked about it. They said, oh, we play on the 98.7 KISS softball team. So I was told when I went up to pick up my check that Bob Slade, the news director, was the manager of the softball team.
Wow.
So I inquired over a year, Sister Anaya. And you know what happened? Bobsleigh finally called me. I tried out and I made the team. And still with Reverend Sharpton, being with Kiss FM, one day Bob needed to get in touch with Reverend Sharpton. I said, I get him. So Bobsleigh realized, wait a minute, I think I can utilize FATIYN because I've been asking to volunteer in the studio. I have no radio background at all.
At all, sir.
At all. At all. And matter of fact, a shout out to Dean Meminger Jr. on New York One, because when Bob brought me into volunteer, Dean Meminger was doing an internship there. And when Dean's internship, along with two other folks, internship ended, they left, I stayed. And things changed. Bob brought in James Mtume because it was Bob Slade and Milton McLean Dennis.
Yeah.
Milton McLean Dennis, they got rid of the public affairs department. So she was the head of the public affairs. So she lost her position at that time. So Bob said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the Open Line program and make it more news oriented. That's when he brought in Brother Mtume. Bob Pickett came in down the road because Mtume at that particular time was the music director for New York Undercover. And then the OJ trial came about. Yeah. And Bob Slade said, you know an attorney that could come on that, you know, maybe is not known? Because we know Alton and C. Vernon Mason, and they were doing their things. So Mtume recommended attorney Bob Pickett. And that's how Bob Pickett came in. And that's how that triangular situation with Bob Slade, James Mtume, the third answer, and attorney Bob Pickett created. And I became the producer of the program because the other producer, a gentleman by the name of Sean Court, went on to host Kiss Inspirations because Kiss decided to have a gospel program. So you see how God works? Absolutely. How these doors open. I had no background. Bob Slade taught me news, producing, and I really enjoyed it because I enjoyed helping our people. So I went from security and being out there with UAM and with National Action Network in the beginning, because I was with NAN in the beginning. Yeah. And I'm still like a lifetime NAN person. I'm just not there every day. Right. But my role changed. So I went into communications, and now I could provide a platform for Reverend Sharpton and others to have a voice where at times it seems like we don't have any platform for, and people, it's like the voiceless out here. Right. So that's where I'm at today. And I look back 30 years, not knowing, unfortunately, Bob Slade, took ill and passed. I never desired to be the lead host of a program, and not only doing, still producing Reverend Sharpton 2 nationally syndicated radio shows, and being the executive producer of Open Line, the lead host on the on-air show, and then hosting the Facebook portion of Open Line online Sunday morning after the on-air show. And then Wednesday, we created a Wednesday show from 8 to 10 p.m. because of COVID, and it just it gravitated towards the people, and now the folks come for information. And now you look at it, we'll be on Wednesday. We got a verdict coming out. We don't know when this is going to drop, what's going to happen. Correct. So we don't have the outlets. Let's talk about it real quick. Let's talk about it.
Talk about it. And let me just say this too, because people are watching. I'm getting comments. Keep on pushing. Keep up pushing, AniYa. Dope. Thank you so much, King Junior Scripps, who is a movie producer himself out of Brooklyn. Brooklyn in the house all day, every day, 3 times on Sunday. Let me just share this. I want to share this funny story, if I may, and then we're going to get into some nitty gritty stuff. Sir, whenever we were at the Circle of Sisters a few years ago, when I ran into yet again, and you were producing and doing your thing, I believe it was there where you shared about Reverend Al Sharpton, and you were his major, his producer. It was either there or in the studios when you shared that. And I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't know that Reverend Al Sharpton would come in like he was local, because for me, growing up, I didn't have that civil rights background either, sir. Mm-hmm. So here we go. This is the open, honest truth. Some people know this story, but I'm telling it publicly. Don't laugh. I thought Reverend Al Sharpton was in China or something, and he would just make random appearances because we have great technology in the world. I never knew a day in my life that I would meet him. I never knew a day in my life I would be under him. And now I'm a lifetime member. I'm running different, sectors. I do the Economic Crisis Initiative under Rev. I do the Haitian Committee. Shout out to all my Haitians under Reverend Al Sharpton. And it was a crisis that brought me to him. And to this day, I always remember that conversation with me and you, because I was too embarrassed to be like, oh my God, will I be able to meet him one day? Like, we're in the studios and we're in the Circle of Sisters. And then the next thing I know, I meet him. And out of everybody I meet, he's the only person that bent down to take a picture with me off of that stage. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta tell Brother FATIYN, I gotta tell somebody, Reverend Al Sharpton is so cool. Oh my God. Right. Because I'm Haitian American, right. And our Haitian American people do not sit around and discuss civil rights. They talk about that whole freedom from 1804 thing, and now look at Haiti, right? And so I had to share that publicly with you, because when you talk about when God moves and how that one instant where you're supposed to rent some money turns into a lifetime career, right? You just got to be open. Open, sir.
You got to be. You have to be.
You have to be. And that's why I wanted you on here tonight, because I'm like, you have one of those stories that's so unbelievable, but so unbelievably amazing. And as the people watch tonight, I want to know, how do you feel getting up every day, doing this job, having multiple lines and hats and different things that you're doing. And the second part is, let us talk about the fact that our Black community has dropped the ball so much, yet you at WBLS, you keep that energy of Black information, Black empowerment, Black love for our people.
Okay, so the answer to the first one is, it's you don't want to sound cliche-ish, but it's real. When you do something that you enjoy, then it's not hard getting up in the morning. And the only thing now, after doing this for as many years that I've done it, and I still enjoy it, is that I just watch my father, I watch Bob Slade, and I watch other people that have worked hard. And even with Reverend Sharpton, because he talked about retirement at one point.
Yep.
And of course, people pulling him, and he realized that, look, we had a big election and there's still a lot of work for him to do. Yes. But you want to still have your life. You understand? You still want to have your life. So it's not hard to get up in the morning. It's just that now what I'm trying to do is to make a transition, start the transition in a sense of, what am I going to do next and how am I going to do it? Because what does next mean, I don't really want to work as hard. I want to sit back and try to enjoy life, but you got to realize that God has bigger plans, and you can be like Jonah. Let FATIYN go ahead and try to be like Jonah. I just get swallowed up by that whale and brought right back here.
Back to where you were supposed to be, sir.
Exactly. So, it's easier to get up in the morning. So it's not challenge. Oh gosh, I got to get up. I got to get up, I got to get up yesterday morning, 5 o'clock. Or if I have to get up at 4:30 or whatever. It's not hard to do that at all, to get up and do what you do at the end of the day. It's a more challenging now for me, because not only do I have to gather information. Before, Bob Slade and Toomey and Bob Pickett, they made it easy because they just did their job. They were really great at it. I have to work a little harder. Bob was a top journalist. He won the top award in the business, a Peabody Award. A Peabody Award.
A Peabody.
Yes. But the point I wanted to make is, for folks that know this, since somebody mentioned that they marched there with UAM in some of these big cases,
yes.
They know that we had Imhotep Gary Bird, which is he's still on. You had Mark Riley.
Yep.
You had Night Talk with Bob Law. Attorney Maddox had a show. Reverend Sharpton still has a show. There was Open Line. You had Conrad Muhammad, Minister Conrad Muhammad, who Minister Conrad Tillett now, had a show. You had Minister Kevin Muhammad, then he Minister Hafiz Muhammad, you know, and God bless his soul. Yes, may he rest in peace. I had a show, and we all had shows. Then you had, which you still have, the Amsterdam News. You had the City Sun. You had Peter Noel. You had the Cut Man on Kiss FM in the Night with the Weekend Review. You had Peter Noel writing for the Village Voice. Latrice Lead with the City Sun, and over at WBAI with brother Bernard White and folks. So look at all the information sources that we had that are gone now. So now when I look at this, I'm looking at it from a point of a responsibility. And I have a responsibility that's bigger to myself. I have a responsibility that's to the community and to our people.
You just hit the nail on the head. Welcome, Karen Andre, my sister, who is officially working for the Harris-Biden team in, I guess, Miami. I don't know where she is. She might be in DC.
Normally I ring a bell on my show, but this is your show.
Ring it, sir. Please ring that bell for Karen Andre.
There you go.
Who worked so hard. She is watching on Instagram. Big love to her, who helped bring that together for Biden Harris in Miami. Shouts out to her. We love her. Ring that bell. This is our show, sir. You are the highlight tonight. You are the motivational force. And I'm so honored because, you know, again, I watch you and I see how great you do your job, and it seems so easy. And then I hear you speak now and I'm like, I get it. You don't just do this because it's a job, but you do this because it's a job. You want to make sure that these people go out there and they look their best, because we have a responsibility. And that to me is so amazing, Brother FATIYN. And for anybody watching, you're watching the AniYa show tonight. We have a very special guest, Brother FATIYN. You all may know him from the different hats he wears, but he's an executive producer. He's a civil rights leader. He is amazing in every sense of the word. And so many people have been waiting for this moment. They've been commenting, they've been calling. They're like, yes, we can't wait because you are the truth, you know?
And you said many hats. A lot of people say, I didn't know when I take off my hat I have here. They think I'm not, I got it. And I don't color it.
No, it's all black, y'all. It's all black.
All black. It's there, you know. So at the end of the day, but you said it's not a job, but it's a job. It's even more than that. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. It's a way of life because I can get up and provide a platform. Just for instance, hip hop legend DMX passed last week. So I was able to reach out to people, not knowing that I was doing quick research, and I was looking to see if there was an autobiography out on DMX. Come to find out, a gentleman by the name of Smokey Fontaine, who I work with, he did it. He did the autobiography. He penned it. So he came on the show, and then I had a former manager of DMX, and then I had Dr. Benjamin Chavis, who played in the movie Belly.
But wait a minute, you know what's so funny? I've been friends with Ben Chavis. Dr. Ben Chavis is such a sweetheart. He's one of those humble guys too. When I got to meet him face to face at NAN, I mean, first of all, who do we not meet at NAN? I swear on everything. People ask me sometimes, why do you go there? Why are you so connected? They have all this back stuff to say about Rev. And I'm like, y'all don't know, honey. That man is the truth. Ring that bell, sir, because they don't even know. Like, for example, talking about like the hip hop industry, entertainment, etc. One day we're sitting there and who walks in? I'll Be Sure, right before that major march, you know, and I'm pretty sure I'll Be Sure and the rest of the gang are like really mourning DMX right now, because that brother did so much. And you know what I want to say about DMX that I learned recently too, and then I want you to finish your thought. He did stuff that we didn't even see. Like my sister, I love her. I think is oh my God, her name, big Afro, black, beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I don't forget
Angie,
sister name.
Angie,
Angie. Okay, cool.
yep. She got on Facebook or Instagram crying her heart out and shared a story about them going to a children's hospital and feeding the children when there were
Yes.
supposed to be so many other celebrities, and they were the only two that stuck it through. But you know what? Leave it to the media and they'll say negative stuff. But thank God for you. Thank God for you wearing your hats and doing it so well that you care to share and you care to expose us in such a positive light.
Thank you. And that was amazing because I was on the phone with Al B. Shore maybe about a month and a half ago.
Okay.
Because what the network that we work for, Reverend Sharpton and I, for Reach Media, is under Kathy Hughes and Alfred Liggins,
Yes.
and which is TV One, also Radio One, and Urban One now. And Albie Shaw does the Quiet Storm on that network.
Yes, he
also.
does.
So I had reached out for Albie Shaw, and he called me back for a Reverend Sharpton show, but he had called back a little too late. And we stayed on the phone talking an hour. And I met Al in Virginia Beach when he had his first hit out. I was on stage throwing out T-shirts from the radio station with him. And now, we're talking consciousness. We talked about an hour about COVID and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's amazing that Reverend Sharpton see people look at Reverend Sharpton as that civil rights leader, which he is. But when I started producing Rev, and when they interviewed me for the position, I said that Reverend Sharpton is more than a civil rights leader. Reverend Sharpton, and when I use the word funny, he's a family man. He knows the entertainers out there, the rappers, this, that, and the other.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's multitask, but he's now, because of MSNBC, he has fallen into that leadership role there. But I've had Reverend Sharpton talk about health issues like autism. I've had Tisha Campbell from Martin that broke on his story. I even had a young lady named Corinne Steffens. Nickname Superhead.
I know Super.
I had her on Reverend Sharpton's radio show talking about. She talked about the title was doing our medical segment, and it was called The Jump Off. And we were talking about safe sex, and it fit her. And she said to me during the break, she said, "FATIYN, this is one of the best interviews that I had." She said, "I was scared to come on Reverend Sharpton's show. I thought I was going to get lashed at."
Yep.
And Reverend Sharpton turned this show into something that could benefit folks, young and old, in a sense of protecting themselves with safe sex. And that's what we turned it in. So that's what I'm saying, that Reverend Sharpton has that kind of influence. But with so much going on out here, he seems like he's just stuck in this lane. But Reverend Sharpton he can multitask on so many different things.
Can I just share something? Like, I'll never forget, we had a conversation, and he's made me cry a few times because he is like the father, he's like the brother, he's the uncle, all wrapped in one. But when I am comfortable with him is when he gives you that little smile, like, I'm just, making sure you on task type.
Right.
But I'll never forget this. And I have to say this because this is something that blows my mind to this day, brother. I came into the meeting with all of our leaders and stuff because I had honored him as an honorary Haitian, and I had promised that I was going to have a Haitian committee. And I'm actually bringing this together for a purpose bigger than, the purpose I'm sharing it. But anyway, I brought it to the table, and I was like, by the way, Rob, like, it was the dumbest thing I could have said ever, but it was hilarious at the same time because of the follow-up. So I was like, by the way, Rob, like a lot of Haitians and a lot of people. I was just wondering, do you know of any Haitians that I could reach out to? Because I want to have a Haitian committee under you, but everybody, you know what I mean? And I'm in the room, Kathy's there, everybody's there, and everybody looks at me like, are you dumb? And Rev snaps on me like, AniYa, I don't know. You better go out there and get you some Haitians, like if you want to have a committee. And so, brother FATIYN, yep, ring that bell, ring it again, because you're going to love this follow-up. It's like 2 years later, And I finally bring that Haitian committee together, and I bring 30 people to Rev to sign up in one day. And
Beautiful.
I'm crying. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe, because we finally pulled it together. I didn't sleep for days for this moment or whatever. And Rev said from the platform, AniYa said she would bring a Haitian committee, and give it up. She actually did it. And that was that moment that I could have hit the floor and died. How in the heck does this man do everything he does under the sun and still remembers a conversation from 2 years ago?
He has a great mind. Reverend Sharpton is he has a great mind. He's one of the best thinkers on his feet, that he can respond to things. And Rev usually don't forget those kind of conversations, because he can look at you and remember. So, and you hit something that was important to him, but Rev don't do a lot of chit chatting or telling you everything that's going through your mind, but he left it to you and you ran with it. So it's
absolutely
your baby right there.
I'm trying to tell you, because I look at him like, I've needed you all of my life, sir, and whatever I can do to keep going under you, like, that's what I'm going to do. And that moment, to this day, I replay these moments, like, how in God, like, as many people as you meet and as important and busy you are, but that's that power of purpose. And for those that are watching tonight, I want people to understand the power of purpose, Brother FATIYN. And like you said, it's not a job for you. Get up and you love what you do. I want us to go back as Black people to loving who we are, and loving our purpose-filled selves, and loving our ancestors enough to just live our best lives and make them proud. And I do this 5 nights a week, Brother FATIYN, not because I don't have nothing else to do, but I feel as though I just can't see our world going down the drain like this anymore. I'm tired. The killings, the problems, honey, I can't go on. But how can you motivate us? If I start, I'm not going to stop. How can you motivate the people watching tonight? Because we have my sister Aisha Wilson watching tonight, who has been with Nan for 20 plus years. Her mom, and her Valley Wilson, they're just like, they do this. And like Ashley and Dominique and all these great leaders, Nia 2X. Do you know Nia 2X, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Yes, from DC. All these great people, they do this. And I have them.
Lee, Tyleek
McMillan. Yes, sir. How can you motivate us and the people to keep loving ourselves and fighting?
Well, the bottom line is, you got to realize that if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. You can't leave that up to someone else. The same way that you expect others to join in to do it, it takes you to do it first. And if everybody takes that first step, believe in themselves and saying that they want to make a difference and make a change, that's how you start. It doesn't start with the big folks first. People talk about voting, and a lot of people say, it's not just about the presidential election. It's about local. It's about building locally first and then branching out. So it starts with you first. You got to get your house in together before you can go out there and get anybody else's house together. So it starts with you first.
It starts with you and it ends with you. And in the middle, you just got to do what you got to do. How about that?
Yeah. And then you got to realize that if the way the world is going, it seems, I'm telling you right now, I just read a comment. I just read a comment by Dr. Ben Carson. It's just horrific about that reparations by leaving out white people. It's racist. And, it's just that you have your own people against what you deserve and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to stand up. But you was part of an administration that was racist, and the things that you did, you was the only Black person, the only spot in the building, or any press conference or anything that the former president was doing. So how could you even live with yourself to know that this is a multicultural country with so many different people, background, races, and you are part of an administration, you're going to come out and criticize? That's why I say, we have to be professional, but sometimes, when there's no mic in front of us, we really give it to them, because we ain't got time for this nonsense out here.
And you know what? He doesn't love himself. And can I just say, a lot of our people are so brainwashed. And may I add, and I may get some kickback or feedback or negative comments later, and I don't care, because I may never win an EGOT, an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, or a Tony. And that's okay with me because I open my mouth and I share the truth. Brother FATIYN, I did not know I was going to be a civil rights leader today. I call myself a whole leader, and I don't care what nobody says. I'm a civil rights leader. Thank you, sir. And I fight. Brother FATIYN, I grew up partially in New York and partially in South Florida in one of the most racist communities on planet Earth. And I got called the NIGGER word. And I had to fight. All my life, I had to fight. And my mom kept us around white folks. And I don't know why, but I think it was a blessing in disguise to learn. And Brother FATIYN, white men were always attracted to me. And I had white suitors, and I was supposed to marry 2 different white men. And I couldn't do it because I had a feeling that I was gonna wake up one day and I was gonna be like, oh no, this is not it. I'm out, deuces, or whatever. And I share that to say, I loved myself so much that I said, it's gonna hurt finding the perfect Black man or somewhat perfect Black man or whatever, but I'm gonna wait because I am not going to just collect these coins from whatever white guy that I've always had these rich white men attracted to me, whatever, and be miserable. And when I see Ben Carson, that's all I remember is laying down or sitting down or being with some people that I was not comfortable with. And I played a role. And then one day I said, enough is enough. And I can't go through this marriage thing. I can't buy a house with you. I can't because I'm not going to be happy in 20 minutes. And I was so happy that I made that decision. Now, did it hurt? You know, did I not have the expensive toys and the gifts and the, okay, but that was okay because I'm happier today in my skin. And when I look at Ben Carson and when I look at even Omarosa sometimes, it's like, I understand them a little bit because they're brainwashed. They are completely oblivious, but that's why it takes more of you, my brother FATIYN, more of the Reverend Al Sharptons, more of the Tyleek McMillans, more of the Aisha Wilsons, more of the Nia 2Xs, and the next generation to start putting our minds together and saying that we have to speak out more. We have to have more businesses, more radio stations. And I just have to share this last part here and the rest is yours, sir, I promise. Why is it that we don't own our own Black radio stations anymore? Why is it that we only have a select few? And one of the only ones left in South Florida, I believe, is WFLM The Flame. I don't know if you know who they are. Larry Lee and Alice Lee of Fort Pierce, Florida. He used to be in the political gamut, but he's a great guy. And when I learned that they were the last standing Black radio station, and in Florida, a whole entire state, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. And that's the reason why I think some of our people are just so confused and just out of pocket, because we don't, like you said, all those different names and those shows that you listed, and we only have a handful left.
That's right. Yeah, it's a long conversation to look at, and that's why I mentioned Kathy Hughes and Alfred Liggins,
correct,
Urban One, because they are honestly the last standing that have multiple, about 50 some radio stations across the country that there, and then they have the TV one. Now they get into casinos. So the radio business it has changed. It has changed. There's some isms that have kept Black folks out, number one, and then radio is not as attractive as a business now as it once was, dealing with ratings and things like that. So it takes a lot, but I still believe that we still need to be in this game. And for those that are still standing strong, and if it's not Black owned, as long as we still have Black formatted radio station that can be themselves and not be a puppet and let the ownership have them as being the puppeteer, then we're getting places. We're still getting the message out. But I'm telling you, with this pandemic, it opened up other areas like yourself, what you're doing here, and other folks doing podcasts and things like that, they're getting information out.
Yes, sir.
The bottom line is you have to be responsible and you have to make sure that you get out proper information, because there's a lot of information that's on Facebook and the social media that is not correct. And at the end of the day, a lot of information is wrong and it can lead people in the wrong direction. And then to flip it, there's a lot of good information that don't make it to the radio.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
A lot of grassroots stuff.
Yes, sir.
That you might say, hey, FATIYN in Haiti, we do this and do that to get some of our people well on certain things.
Yep.
And some of those things do work, you know, at the end of the day. But we have to make sure that we vet this information at the end of the day, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a question for you, though.
Oh, go ahead, sir. I'm here for it.
You said something. I will get back to that part first. Why do you think that you mentioned about white men being attracted to you? Why do you think that?
Oh, you putting me on the spot, sir. Okay. Well, now this is not to toot my horn or anything like that, right? Number one, I never had a booty. So we're going to start with the negative part, because I never had a booty growing up, and our brothers didn't. Where is the ringer for that one? The bell. You can ring the bell, sir.
I don't know. A sister without a booty.
Okay, I didn't have a booty growing up. I just got one 5 minutes ago. Praise God. So I didn't have a booty, honestly, and I always had a bigger chest. And I watch everybody and everything. Like I analyze everything, and I had a bigger chest, slim body. I was a dancer growing up, not a stripper, sir. I was a ballerina and all of that. So I had more like, you know, slender bottom, but big chest or whatever. And I watched how our Black men would not look at me. And it was the funniest thing. And white men were like goo goo gaga, because white men love boobies or whatever. And then I also, and this is just something that I observed, I speak about 5 languages. I'm Haitian, but from young, I had to learn French, Spanish, Creole, English, Patois, and I teach myself different dialects and different things like that. And furthermore, I skipped 2 grades in school, and I graduated at 16 and went straight to university. And I was always the token like Black girl in these communities, because I was in leadership at 16, Brother FATIYN. So when people see me, they don't know my background and my history. And I'm glad you asked me, because some people would have heard that statement and would have gone left. But what happens with white men is when they see a Black woman in leadership or in power, or you know, always in front of people, because I was like a public speaker from 16. And before that, I was a dancer. So I was always on stages, and I was never afraid, because I didn't think fear was a thing. I didn't understand when people could not speak in front of people or whatever. And so when they would see that, they would go crazy, and they would be like, oh my God, can you be my woman? Can I take you out? Can I date you? They would want to touch my hair. They want to touch my skin. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And fast forward, it just became, you know, like I was always on this like weird pedestal thing, because I was the only one in my community that would kind of do what I did. And I kind of would feel uncomfortable. And so I would always bring my people around me, because I didn't want to be that only Black girl doing this, right? And so that's how a lot of white men would get attracted to me. And then I went to predominantly white schools. And my last university was Palm Beach Atlantic University. And that's where I met my fiance, my first fiance, long story. And he was just so blown away, because within 30 days, now you're going to love this. Within 30 days of us meeting, I had to break it down to him the first night we met. By the way, don't get too attracted or attached to me, because I'm going to London, England to study abroad in about 29, 30 days. And I was like, this is fun for this first night, but sir, you know, after tonight, it's cool. We don't have to talk again. And he was like, what? You know, who says that to people? And that was my personality and my outlook, because I never wanted to be attached anyway. And I think white men like that whole, I'm out of here. Like, I'm a boss. Don't get too close or whatever. And then they chased after me and things like that.
Right. It just made me think of something. And you mentioned your moms, what did she, you know, because a lot of times parents associate, you know, of getting with a white person as making it.
Ooh, thank you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And sometimes they look at that may be the best thing for you, and at the end of the day, and that's just a mindset, and that's a mindset of and not to fault our parents or grandparents or the younger folks, but it's just a mindset, especially for folks. I can't speak for people out of Haiti, but I do know that I had a friend, she passed, and she was Haitian, and we'll talk off record, off the air about her.
Yes.
But I learned so much about her, but her father was white, but her father wasn't in her life. So I see this whole thing with folks that are Haitian that may not been brought up in America or abroad, where they have had relationships with white folks, you know, understand, at the end of the day. So there's a whole concept and mindset.
Can I hit it even closer to home? And I'm so glad you're so intuitive. And, you know, this is a truth that I rarely share publicly, but tonight I want to expose it because it feels good to tell the truth. Like I said, I'm one of those people. I want people to know the truth, because in telling the truth, we'll be set free. Not only was I taught that white was right? I also was taught that almost to not love our Black men because they would hurt us. And it didn't feel good because I'm like, I don't get it. I'm Black. My dad, although he's like biracial or whatever, he's Black. My grandfather, my real grandfather, was white, French, but he was an alcoholic and died of a whole like cancer thing. But the Black grandfather that I grew up with was the colonel of the Haitian army. So I grew up in this dynamic that was confusing, Brother FATIYN. And I want people to understand this. Like, I grew up having to analyze every situation around me, because here was the upstanding Black man out of everybody, the darkest one out of everybody, who had the career, who wore a suit, who polished himself, who would take me aside and drop pearls of wisdom. But you're telling me not to love Black men. How does that work? And I'm supposed to love my own dad, but I can't love Black men, and I have to love white men because they're gonna help me make it. And then now you're gonna love this part. Remember, I told you I traveled most of my life. I was always in front of, you know, TVs and stages and blah, blah, blah. And I hate to talk about my family, but I have to. It's just a thing, because they're hurting. The ones that did marry the white men, they were never really in love. And they would cry about certain things because they wanted that connection to that Black man that captured their heart, captivated their soul, made them feel like that whole woman, like that song says. But for whatever reason, things would not go in a certain way for them, and they had to depart, and they would always have a void. And I watched my one aunt, I'm not saying any names, y'all. I watched my one aunt, who's the richest out of everybody in the family. And she would sit with me, and I could see the sadness in her eyes. And I was on my second engagement, about to marry this really wealthy engineer, white, French, half from Spain, not Spanish, you know, Mexican, like Spain, you know. And I sat with her in her home in a very rich community overseas. And I spoke with her, and I asked her certain questions. And it was kind of like that aha moment, like, oh yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And I'm not staying overseas either. I'm going back to America, and I'm gonna work this thing out and figure this out until a Black man finds me and says, honey, it's time, you know? And it happened. And I'm literally getting married in less than a month, Brother FATIYN. Wait, to a whole African king. How about that?
Wow. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
See, I didn't know. See how that kinship brings that information out. Folks didn't even know. Probably say, wait a minute. But you see where we go? I didn't know that. You know?
I know. And I love that you asked, because you're so intuitive, and we have like kindred spirits, because I would have been like, tell me more about that, and, you know, to whoever my guest is, because I want to find out more. And you're absolutely right. And then I just have to say too, it's the mess that we have found ourselves in as Black people that continues to make us love the opposite race and consider them the hierarchy, the supreme beings, because that's what we were taught. My mom didn't not love her Black stepfather because she thought he was stupid. She only probably feels that way because somebody told her that white men were it for the family because that's what her father was. But again, he died of a whole, like, you know, overdose of the liver, whatever you call that thing with, you know,
cirrhosis of the liver.
Thank you. And so if you feel that he was so damn great, then why did he die like that? And why did the black guy always, you know, stick around and love us? And he was there for, you know, it's yo, when I write this next book, you know, I'm an author and stuff. So I be writing stuff because I think about this stuff. And then I think about how our black men are always at a disadvantage. Yeah. Always
at a disadvantage. And there's a lot of things that goes on with us black men, and you don't want to paint all black men with a broad brush. And then when you break it up into cultures too, because there's different cultures believe in different things. You understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
But there's something dealing with the black men and the black woman and this one-on-one relationship. There needs to be conversations about it, because I just see that, you know, there's a lot of issues there. And, you know, and the reason why there's a lot of issues, because there's a lot of misconceptions and conceptions of way relationships supposed to be and how they are supposed to be. But you got to realize things have changed. Things are not like in the 50s and in the 40s, where women now are career women. They're making their own money. They can take care of themselves. They don't need a man per se to be successful and do those things at the end of the day. And then we have to look at how men feel. We are the hunters, you know, and
yes.
And when I see a lot of women frown when they hear a man being a hunter, and sometimes he's just not just one person for 40, 50 years. Yes, there's some people just can't do it, you know. And we have to really talk about it. You can't just frown on it and say, well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
If you want to quote the Bible, but in the Bible, a lot of men had more than one.
But wait, here's another thing, Brother FATIYN. Now, I love that we went down this path, because I believe that black men can be faithful. But guess what? You know what I notice about you black brothers, you black men? You know exactly what you want. You know exactly what you want. And with black men, we have to listen, black women. Black men tell us things, but sometimes we talk so much and we overlook certain things. Okay, you can ring that bell anytime you want to, sir, because I'm here with you, brother. You black men know what you want and what happens to us. Because I studied psychology, by the way. That's my background, psychology and public relations. And I noticed something, because I wanted a black man all my damn life. I was like, listen here, because to me, right, I watched the power couples. And I would sit there like, I want me a black man and a king. I didn't know I was going all the way to Africa to get one, but praise the Lord. I just wanted to be that couple that people looked at and were like, yes, you know, right? Because that's a respect thing in our communities too. And what I noticed after doing my analyzations and watching and listening to conversations and watching, like, my father, ready for this, and my mother, who are still together. You caught that, right? The same people that were like, go after a white man, blah, blah, blah. But y'all still together. Okay. Out of everybody, y'all still together. And I watched them, Brother FATIYN. And what I noticed is they have a secret language. My parents, they speak without speaking. And my mom knows what my dad wants. And my dad knows what my mama wants. And they fight for each other, Brother FATIYN.
There you go.
They fight for each other. They curse each other out like cats and dogs, but don't you dare try to come between them, because they're going to cuss you out and keep it moving.
There you go. There you go.
So I could go down, I could tell you story after story, but it's like the craziest thing, because if you really watch black men, and a lot of times we as black women have been hurt so bad. And I will have to say this too. It's a psychological thing, but it's also generational. Whereas the spirits and whatever else, demonic forces, whatever you want to call it, they still travel, y'all. And something could have happened in a family. They kept it suppressed. They kept it under wraps. Nobody dealt with it. And that thing is still permeating, and it's causing those issues. But if we really analyze, and if we really work together and listen to each other, Black men, I'm telling you right now, when I look at some black men, I know exactly what they want, and I know exactly how to give it to them, and I know exactly how to get out their face and just keep it moving at the same time.
Got it. There you go. That's it.
There you
That's
go,
it.
sir.
There you
There you
go.
have it, folks. There you have it,
We
folks. So
sure,
black
we
women,
sure, we sure
listen.
made a left where we were supposed to make a right on this show, but that's the beauty of it.
But listen, sir, we had to do it though, because this is all about motivation. And I hope somebody caught it tonight, and they will catch it later, to know that, it's real what we go through, but we have to talk about it, because one of the things that kills us as a black people is lack of communication.
That's correct.
So I'm happy we brought that. Look.
Yep, and we got to know that the bigger picture, what the bigger picture is, and right now we are getting at it. We're getting it from all ends of it. We're getting all ends. So at the end of the day, we got so many fires that we're trying to put out in so many different directions. So that's why I'm saying we got to be on point, and we got to be able to deal with what needs to deal with and keep moving on. So
he wants to say hi. He's so jealous. Look, Lucky, that's Brother FATIYN. You see him now? You okay? Okay. Yeah. Sorry, brother. He had to make a guest appearance because he's so jelly. See, black men. See, he's a brown man. He a brown man. But you're absolutely right, Brother FATIYN. We have to communicate, and we have to really figure this thing out. And before, we deal with the external hurts, let's deal with the internal pain.
Exactly. I agree. Definitely.
So, sir, where can people find you? I know you got to be up early, probably. I don't want to keep you any longer because we could be here all night. I feel that in my heart. But where can people find you? How can they listen to you and your shows and your different platforms? Because I have people watching from Chicago to DC to overseas in London, England, and beyond. So
so the first thing is for the on-air show. For the shows that I do, WBLS Open Line, Sunday morning at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
You can listen by radio if you're in the New York tri-state area by going to 107.5 WBLS. You can also go online to WBLS.com and listen online there. Then for our Facebook show, which is Sunday morning following our on-air show, it comes on about 9:05 a.m. And we supposed to go 2 hours, and sometimes we go 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I gotta catch you now. I didn't even know.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So what you can do there is just go to Facebook and type in WBLS 1075 NYC, no dot.
No doubt.
WBLS 1075 NYC. That'll bring you to the page, and then our show pops up as we are live. And then there's a video section there. You can go back and look at past shows. Then on Wednesday night, we are live on the same Facebook page at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesday night, and that's Eastern Standard Time. Same thing. Go to Facebook, type in WBLS 1075 NYC. I'm on Facebook at FATIYN 2525. That's FATIYN. Down there, you see it spelled. 2525. I could be hit on Instagram the same way. FATIYN 2525, and my email is FATIYN2525@gmail.com.
So look, my sister Pamela from Cheetahwaga Buffalo says she will be listening, and she's always trying to get me to give my doggy kisses. I am not a Becky. I don't kiss my dog. His mouth does weird stuff. Amen. But I love my baby. So she'll be listening to you on all your platforms, she says, from Cheetahwaga Buffalo. And Brother FATIYN, before we close out, I really have to know, what does your name mean, sir?
Smart, clever, and bright in Arabic.
Clever and bright in Arabic.
Smart, clever, and bright in Arabic. So that means that I strive. That's something that I strive to. So if you see, I have another bookshelf over this side, and I have a bookshelf here. I have a book over there. I have a book in front of me, and you're always just reading and just, in this position, knowledge is power. And the more that I know about our past, the further I can go in the future. So there's a lot of things now. You want to end on something inspirational, that would be the inspiration right there. And that's what, I need to know, because I'm reading W.E.B. Du Bois, and you got to realize that he was doing this before Dr. King was doing it.
I know.
Brothers and sisters have been fighting for the salvation of us as a people. If you read W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, and those folks that were before us, then you will understand why we are fighting for reparations and why we're still fighting for salvation, because we're still not free.
No.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not here to tear down those that are fighting for us, but my real opinion is that we are not going to be able to go far in this land under the Constitution and under the racist laws that were made. That I think this Constitution needs to be struck down and rebuilt by the men and women that occupy this land, because we still live under the same racist type laws that we fighting for. Look at the voting laws that they putting in place. The governor just signed a law in Florida talking about when you want to protest, how they can come down on you. You can only protest but so far. So I'm telling you, if they could put us back in chains, they would. So I'm telling you, we are headed for something that we probably haven't seen. We keep talking about peaceful protest. We might be headed for another civil war. I hate to say that, but there's going to be a struggle out here that you let this verdict come back. And this Derek Chauvin trial in the murder and killing of George Floyd. Let this come back, be a hung jury or a not guilty verdict. It's going to be a mess.
I'm telling you, and that's why I could not marry a white man. And that's where it's at right there. Brother FATIYN, and for those that, wonder how can I be so vocal, I'll tell you something right now, right? You're going to fall out. I'll never forget, because of my accolades and things of that nature. And here's the God honest truth. I was with my first fiance, and I'll never forget, we were in the house, Brother FATIYN, right? I'm glad you said that, because it's a perfect segue. And we were in the house, and I was doing something. I was probably on my phone or whatever. And he comes up to me and he says, "Oh my God." And he's smiling from ear to ear. He says to me, "Oh my God, Mima," they have those weird names. "Mima loves you so much," because we just attended his brother's wedding up north, and we were in Florida at the time. And so here I am, token Black girl, like, oh my God, I wonder what Mima loves about me. So I'm running it through my head, what I said at the wedding, all the different things I've done in my life, my career, my accolades, my position in my school and university or whatever. Studying abroad in London, England, mind you, which only 2 Black girls went to this trip out of almost 30 students. And I had to kick down the door for myself and my sister, Latasha Hill, to even attend. So for me, right, I'm like, it gotta be one of these accolades, because I'm out here doing it for a Black sister. Do you know, he says to me, Brother FATIYN, hold yourself. The reason she loves you so much is because you're lighter skinned than my ex.
I knew it was coming.
Lighter skinned than my ex.
Yep. You wasn't chocolate. You wasn't a black doll, baby.
And I sat there like, nah, bro. I almost took the wig off and threw it across the room. I was like, nah, bro. I said, wait, run that by me one more again. And he's still smiling from ear to ear. And that was one of the worst things, but one of the best things that could have happened to me in that relationship, because that was one of the first signs that it was time to get out. Because what they don't understand about Black DNA is, him being pasty white could have a child, and one could be my complexion, the next one could be pasty white, the following one could be darker than all three, because we are so different, and everybody in my family is a different shade.
Right.
And Brother FATIYN, I looked at him, and it took everything out of me, or everything within me, to just be composed. And I walked away, and I think I got a glass of wine or something. I had to just sit there and process. And why did I just share that story? Number one, it says that we're still 3/5 of a damn human in
That's
the
right.
Constitution.
That's correct.
Number two, I don't think, these people, their racist grandparents and great grandparents ever thought we were going to make it. I think they thought that they were going to bring us out here and we were going to work until we died. But they didn't realize that we weren't going to die, we were going to multiply. So they've been trying all these years and all these centuries to break us, to continuously perpetuate that we are not beautiful enough, that our skin color ain't nothing, our wide noses is not going to get us farther than the front door, and our kinky hair is made for the grave and not for the sky. And what happens in their psychologically tormented minds is they want to continue to break us, but they don't know how to take us out of here. So they'll kill George Floyd in front of us and then still act as if, something else happened and that's why he died, as if we're not watching the video. And they will continue to kill the Breonna Taylors because they're like, well, obviously they have to, ransack our communities and we have to put all of them in jail and we have to kill all of them because they're all going to come after us. So what they do is they incite this fear and this panic because they're pushing our buttons. But if we can just stop and see it, we don't need to react. We need to build.
That's right.
And that's how I've been doing it for all these years, Brother FATIYN, because psychologically I could have been messed up from jump. And I had all this stuff coming at me all my life. And instead of listening and letting it bring me down, I just kept working smartly and slowly and quietly, and I kept writing and I kept pushing myself so I could have a voice. And that's what we need.
And being proactive, that's what you did. Being proactive instead of reactive. Sometimes it is you have to be reactive to some things because some things catch you off guard. But being proactive is learning from those things and everything is not a mistake. It's just a learning experience. And when you learn from that, then, you can move on. You can sidestep that trap this time. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying you got to have your eyes open, because we all are going to make mistakes and we all may not get it always right, but you learn from that. Reverend Sharpton was not always, and they come after him.
Yes.
But what shows Reverend Sharpton toughness is not how it's not about just getting knocked down. It's about getting up, brushing yourself off, and keep going. That's the strength.
Oh, wait. And here's the caveat. He's a successful multimillionaire who runs several operations. He's on MSNBC. The first Black woman, Rashida Jones, just became the president of MSNBC. And then wait, on top of everything else, he has books that he's written. And then if you want to be a politician in New York, or even a president, for example, you got to go through him. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody, talking about being proactive. And so when people want to down this brother and be like, Reverend Al Sharpton with the Jerry curls, yes, that one is now the same person that can call Biden up and say, you better put a Black woman as your right-hand chick, because if not, I'm coming for you, bruh. That's Reverend Al Sharpton. And so now, my brother, as we're publicly speaking, I want to ask you, what are we going to do about this Constitution, sir?
Well, I just think that at the end of the day, it's not something that is talked about. I'm just saying that Dr. King talked about this a long time ago. He said, I'm not sure if it is in his book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos and Community. And folks, if you really want to know who Dr. King was, read his books that he has written. He's written numerous books out there. Read his books. But he talked about what's going to change here is what we need is a radical revolutionary change of values. Radical revolutionary. Upset it, turn it upside down. Change, a total change. Rip this out and put something in that's different. And that's the way that I feel is going to make a difference here. And that's it, because we continue to ask for them to change the wheels somewhat, and right now they're tightening it. They're putting laws back in. They put in laws back on the books that is just outright racist. that we fought against, and now they putting them back on the books.
Brother, because they are so afraid of us. Let me tell you something. That fear, brother.
Oh,
and that's why, while we got Biden up in this mug, I'm gonna need you and me to talk offline, okay, about how we're gonna change the Constitution. I've been talking about this. I'm ready to go in to DC tomorrow and tear up that Constitution and say, sorry, we're starting again. And my name is AniYa A. That's not even my real name, but I'm gonna have a part. And matter of fact, let me just share this. My name, AniYa A, with my organization is on Biden and Harris's desk right now for some of the work I've done in regards to the violence against women. So I know it is possible to get these people's attention. And I know you could change this Constitution, brother. So when you're ready to have that conversation, you let me know, because I will be in DC with you. Like, this 3/5 of whatever the hell y'all been talking about for hundreds of years. We are humans. Humans, Homo sapiens. I love that word. That just means human. We are real people, just like you. We have the same blood running in our veins. That's how things are gonna really change. That radical change. Let me know when we going, because we going.
You go.
Okay, sir?
Yep, but well, it's something you got to do when you end the show. You got to say something that is like I don't have to say a rallying cry, but something motivating in Creole and French. Creole and French.
Okay, wow. Okay, for those that are watching, I do have a couple more comments, but we're going to close it out. And m'abdili kon sa. Pour tout le monde qui a gardé m'assoir, moi connais un pile haïtien là, n'attendem. Nous moi avec un gros leader, le frère FATIYN. C'est un monde qui travaille sur radio, il travaille avec Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Et c'est un monde moi considéré comme un gros frère et tout un monde qui travaille pour nous. Il est toujours là. So, assoir, moi souhaite nous tandem. Nous travail, m'a fait et tout avec frère ça. Et moi souhaite nous comme peuple haïtien, nous commençons à mettre tête nous ensemble, parce que nous pas qu'à continuer comme ça. Pour bagaille changer pour Haïti, pour bagaille changer pour nous là, pour nous mettre tête nous ensemble. Et en français, je vais essayer, parce que je parle français un peu, mais c'est pas possible pour moi et pour expliquer la même chose en créole, parce que créole est plus facile pour moi, mais je essaie quand même. Et pour tous qui suivent la commission, le programme ce soir, j'espère que tu vas travailler avec moi, tu vas travailler avec Brother FATIYN, le garçon ici, là, qui fait le travail sur la radio et sur télévision et travaille pour Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Et je souhaitais et je espère nous va continuer pour travailler ensemble. Nous va continuer mettre leurs mains ensemble et nous va continuer à faire le plus grand chose, parce que c'est vraiment important pour travailler comme communauté et travailler ensemble. C'est très important aussi pour faire le travail comme civil rights leaders dans la communauté, pour nous comme Haïtiens, pour nous comme Américains, pour nous comme le peuple noir. Merci pour tout et j'espère que nous va faire une bonne nuit et merci.
And I asked you to do that because you said you spoke more than how many languages?
5.
5. And I wanted you to show that you are, like you said, you learned. And I wanted you to go back to something that is part of your roots.
Thank you. Chapeau bas pour toi. And that just basically means hats off to you. And just so you know what I said, I just basically said thank you for everybody who watched us this evening. You just listened to Brother FATIYN Muhammad. He is a leader in the community. He's been working for us for so long. He is sharing motivation with each of us. He also works with the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. And we hope that you all learned something from this evening and basically put your hands together and continue the fight with us. And that's just in a nutshell.
So it's a lot of people put a lot of hearts just now and thumbs up. And I'm just touched by the invitation, but touched by the work that you do. And I learned a little bit more about you tonight too. So again, I thank you for the vision because you know, a lot of us that do this work, sometimes we don't get the invites, and not that we look for them, we just go on about our job and doing what we have to do. And when you took the time to do this, you know, just like when I invite other people and I took it serious, I made sure I don't even cook much. I even cooked dinner and ate before I came on. I was prepared to come on. So I look forward, and I'm glad that I came on, and look at the smile on your face. So this has been, look at you. There you go.
Because
So
we just got so deep tonight, and we've always been in passing, like you said. Look at that team. Healthy Heart is on. So many great people are watching tonight. They are watching all over. Thank you guys for the support. Let me tell you something. We've always just been in passing. Like you said, with this work, you just never know people. And with the AniYa platform, I want people to know more about people. Like, I know people and I observe people, but there's some things that I learn about people and I'm like, holy cow, can you talk about this publicly, please? Because that is freaking amazing. Yeah. And so I always knew you were great, and I always knew you were amazing, but to know, like, and when I told Ashley you're going to be on the show, because Ashley's like my sister for real, I shared that, and she's like, girl, he's been a part of this thing for years. And she, you know, Ashley, she was brought up in this, and her eyes,
I knew them when they were like this, so
I can imagine. I mean, 80s babies,
when they
90s
used to have
kids.
their little school book bags on there. Sometimes I would be at their house when they having breakfast.
Yes.
we preparing our day. They going to school back in the day, you know. So I have so much admiration for them, and I'm so proud. And I got a chance for Dominique to put on the convention this week. It just was beautiful for the work that the young folks are doing. And let me just say this. I talked about you here, but I didn't talk about where you would call me up about this and that and other things that was going on. You've been persistent and consistent in the work that you do. And it just doesn't come out of a vacuum like you just started today. You've been doing this for a long time. And you talked about some of the other things that you do. So a lot of folks, to the folks out there, a lot of times we're doing other things. And then sometimes we don't even know that we are going to wind up in this lane. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We don't know what God has in store for us, just like you may not know what God has in store for you. But keep your eyes on the prize, continue moving forward, and help other folks. But remember, you can't help other folks if you don't help yourself first. And don't be scared to ask for help if you need assistance. If you got some vices, if you got some bad habits and you need help, don't be afraid to ask for help. You understand? And those that are judgmental, then those people may not need to be in your life. You got to realize those people that are in your life today may not be in your life tomorrow. You understand? Sometimes those people that are your family may not be your family in the future. So continue to work hard, believe in yourself, believe in the mission, believe in a higher source if that's what you do, believe in whatever you choose to believe in. I'm not here to judge you, but what we are here to do is to try to work together to make this a better place for not only us, but those that come after us. Okay, be safe. I'm telling you out there, this whatever this is out here is real, and please be safe out here. And sis, I congratulate you on your upcoming marriage.
Thank you.
And I hope this is the one that you knock them out. Well, I just leave that into you and your fiance, future husband, and I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And I look forward to doing this again, sir. Will you come back and visit me again?
Anytime. Don't you whenever. If you want to do it, just reach out. And that's why I said Monday, because Monday I usually just chill out. But I'm glad I came on tonight.
Thank you. God bless you, Brother FATIYN. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we did it. Man, I'm so blown away by this, Brother FATIYN. I'm going to play our closing song. Okay. And you could stick around for this. It's a beautiful sister who has a whole disability, yet you would never know that she is fully blind. Her name is Lachi, and she sings from her heart and soul. And for those that tuned in tonight and who support and who continue to watch, I pray and hope you learned something from this amazing brother. And one of the things I hope you took away was that the fact is that you never know what tomorrow holds. Here, this brother went to go win an item on the radio station, some coins, and next thing you know, he has a full career 30 years later. Take every opportunity to carpe diem. Seize the moment. And with that being said,
can I just add one more thing?
Yes, sir.
I want to just say this, that there was another format out there that used to come on. I think it was Sunday night, Black News by Bill McClary.
Okay.
Bill McClary passed today.
Oh,
So we want to send our
condolences.
condolences and our prayers to Bill McClary's family out there. And I just want to say that I didn't want that to go by without your viewers knowing that he passed this evening. And Bill McClary was somebody who would come to my softball games out in Cambria Heights, Queens, because he lived nearby, just to support our softball league. And all our softball teams were named after Negro league teams. So again, our prayers and condolences to Bill McCrary's family.
And to DMX and to Black Rob as well. Back to back to back. Thank you for bringing that up. And isn't that just brought so many emotions, thinking that this man used to come and support you.
To supported our league, not just me, supported the league.
The league.
Yes.
That's it.
Black News. That's right. Black News used to come on 10:30. I think it was Sunday night or Saturday night. I can't remember what night it came on. It came on Fox 5, not Fox News Network, but Fox 5, Channel 5 here in New York. And boy, they was hard hitting. And I'll be amiss with if I didn't say the late Gil Noble and Channel 7 every Sunday. So we've had the platform. We have had great leaders and teachers that were before us, and we have the baton in our hand now, Sister AniYa A, and we must run with it.
Let's run, and let's keep going, sir. You got me. Whatever you need, sir. Just know I'm here for it. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, guys. Any other comments you want to say before we play this song, sir?
Ready to play this song of the sister.
All right. It's Lachi. It's our time. Thank you.
We just want a piece of the pie. So we pack our bags and run. Said we pack our bags and run. Trying to walk on the wire. Cause there's nothing we cannot overcome. Nothing we cannot overcome. They don't realize. They don't realize. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. Cause it's our time. It's time to fly. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. Cause it's our time. Time to fly. They're not gonna take us alive. They must not know how we do. They sure don't know how we do. Cause we're gonna fight to survive. They will not knock us off our groove. They will not knock us off our groove. They don't realize. They don't realize. We're gonna take our turn. We're gonna rule the world. Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. We're gonna take our turn. pollinated in my heart. I feel a little fear. I'm racing towards my destiny. I gotta keep my conscience clear. The blue sky's got a star I should be standing on. It's my turn and I'm ready to take the world on. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna rule the world. Rule the world. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna rule the world. It's our time. Our time to fly. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna rule the world. 'Cause it's our time. Our time to fly. It's our time to fly. It's our time to change. We don't need a reason why. Let's make a change. They can't watch us now. Now we're on the road. I mean, we're on the road. It's our time. We're off to rule the world. We're off to rule. We gon' rule the world. Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Brother FATIYN.
Good night, Sister AniYa A.
Good night.